Thinking about buying a condo here in Abbotsford? Well, hold on, because there are certain types of condos you should never touch in the first place, no matter how good they look on paper. Some condos, folks, look like a great deal, but behind walls, there are endless repairs, hidden costs, and special levies that will drain your wallet. In today's video, I'm walking you through a list of condos you should avoid at all costs. Stick around till the very end because I'm going to share one insider tip that will help you avoid this stress and mess in the first place. Let's dive in. The first mistake you want to avoid is buying an older unit with poor maintenance history. Here in Abbotsford, you'll find some strata complexes that are 45 to 50 years old. And one of the things that you need to know about Abbotsford, folks, is we get a lot of rainfall. And a lot of these buildings were built for the wet climate. So if you buy a unit in one of these older buildings, you might get a lot of water leaks, mold, or even worse, are building envelope issues that need to be remediated or addressed right away. And sometimes the way these strata council will be raising the funds is through endless special levies. Just recently, I was talking to a person that owns a townhome here in Abbotsford. They live in a complex that's 45 to 50 years old, and they've owned a unit in here for a very long time. But what they told me was that over the last 20 to 30 years, the strata complex was poorly managed, where the strata council didn't raise the monthly strata fees to cover upcoming expenses for things like the roof, balconies, windows, and doors, and the list goes on. So right now, what's happened is there are a lot of issues with the complex that need to be addressed, where the exterior needs to be updated, the windows, the doors, and the list goes on. And right now, the cost per owner is approximately $70,000 to $100,000 per owner. And what they told me is they feel really bad for those young families that have bought in this complex recently, as they were unaware of those upcoming special levies. And these are things that should have been disclosed by the realtor, or if they were working with the right real estate team, they could have been avoided altogether. The other thing that you want to know is how much money is in the operating and contingency reserve fund. The operating fund is used for the day-to-day business of that condo building, and the contingency reserve fund is for those major projects that occur less than once a year, things like the windows or the roof needing to be replaced. And the way a strata council raises money is a portion of your monthly strata fees go towards the contingency reserve fund, or if it's really depleted or there's not enough money in there, one of the other ways I've seen strata councils raise money is through doing yearly special levies to raise the contingency reserve fund. What a healthy contingency reserve fund looks like will vary building to building, but one of the best ways to know if a building has a healthy contingency reserve fund is reviewing the depreciation report, which is a financial planning tool used by the strata council. And in the depreciation report, they will outline if there's enough money in the contingency reserve fund or how much money they need to raise or by how much it's underfunded. Number 2, buying a condo in a crappy location. In real estate, we always talk about location. And when you're buying a condo, the location of your building matters. Some locations that you want to avoid is buying a condo near the railway track, the highway, an area where there's a lot of homeless folks, or certain shelter programs for these folks that need help. And what I mean by this, folks, is there's a new and recent development here in Abbotsford. Let's just say there's about 2. One is right down on a road where there's a lot of homeless folks because there are certain agencies and nonprofits on that street that provide support for them. And there's another building here in Abbotsford. It's located from another area where a lot of these folks get treatment from. And you want to buy in an area where it's not going through a transitional period. Here's what I mean. Right now, there are certain segments in Central Abbotsford that are going through a transitional period where they're building a lot of multifamily housing, rental housing, and the list goes on. And if you're someone that's looking to buy a condo, maybe this area isn't for you. Another thing that you want to determine is the walkability score to amenities like the parks, shopping, recreation, the mall, and the proximity to the highway if you're someone that commutes for work. The third building is a building loaded with amenities. If you're buying a condo in a unit that has a gym, a pool, Library, guest rooms that can be booked. Just remember, folks, your monthly strata fees will be higher because you have these amenities that need to be looked after. Every single amenity that you have, it's added onto your monthly strata fees, and it's added onto those list of things that could be needing replacement. Things like the pool, the hot tub, the sauna, gym equipment, and the list goes on. Just recently, I was working with a client. Her name was, let's just call her Bonnie. Bonnie was looking to buy a condo here in a certain complex here in Abbotsford, and she was super excited to buy a condo in a certain building. We made an offer on a unit that she liked, but after reviewing the strata documents, what we found was the strata management did a poor job of raising the monthly strata fees. They weren't contributing enough funds towards the contingency reserve fund. The way the things were managed over the last 15 to 20 years meant the potential homeowners down the road would be on the hook for special levies ranging from $70,000 to $100,000 over the next 5 to 10 years for major projects coming up. Things like the water piping needing to be updated, the roof, the windows, the exterior of the building. Even though my client loved these amenities, she decided to walk away because those special levies weren't worth it. Number 4, buying a bad floor plan or in the wrong location of the building. Let's talk about the bad floor plan. This could be buying a unit that's a 2-bed, 2-bath unit, but what you might notice is the second bedroom is really small, which looks more like a den, and there's no window. These are things that impact your future resale value. Other things might be the rooms are side by side, or even worse, you buy a 2-bed, 1-bath unit where when you have future owners looking to buy, they would rather prefer buying a 2-bed, 2-bath unit. Other things might be that there are a lot of walls in the unit where there's not an open floor plan between the kitchen and living room. The next thing is it's important buying a unit and knowing where it sits in the building. So if you're someone that loves enjoying the balcony during the winter seasons, the fall, or even the summertime, imagine this: you bought a 2-bed, 2-bath unit, but your balcony is facing the visitor parking and the main entrance to the building. Here you're gonna get endless people peeking out of their windows, looking at you, cars coming and going, Amazon trucks coming and going. But a better idea might be buying an end unit, top floor, that faces the street view. Other things you want to avoid is buying a unit right next to the elevator or the emergency stairwell cases. Other things that you want to pay attention to are the bylaws. You want to know the pet bylaw restrictions that outline whether dogs are allowed or not allowed, and what kind of dog breeds are allowed, which ones aren't allowed, and what is the maximum height or weight permitted for those pets, including dogs and cats. One of the most common complaints strata is always dealing with on a regular basis is related to pet. The other thing is knowing how many people are permitted to live in a 1-bed and 2-bedroom unit. Right now, in a 1-bed, 1-bath unit, typically here in Abbotsford and across the Fraser Valley, you're allowed a maximum of 2 occupants, and in a 2-bed, 2-bath unit, it's usually a maximum of 4 occupants per unit. The last one you want to avoid is brand new construction, and here's why. As the cost of building goes up, these newer and newer units are getting smaller and smaller. Right now, if you're looking at new development here in Abbotsford, there are some projects that are selling 2-bed, 2-bath units that are only 700 square feet. Not only that, but if you're looking at buying these brand new units, all you're really buying is a brochure, a piece of paper, and you might be stuck with a unit where the finishings and the completion dates are always subject to changing. Not only that, you're paying a premium and you might be stuck paying GST as well. A better thing to consider is buying a tangible unit that's a couple of years old. You have an opportunity to see the unit in person, the location of the unit, and you can review the history of that unit through the strata documents. There's one more thing that I want folks to consider. That is, avoid buying a unit in a 55 plus. Sometimes when we're helping seniors that are downsizing, what we're telling them is that, hey, yes, you might buy a unit in a 55 plus building that's $60,000 to $80,000 cheaper, but there might be a list of special levies that that are coming up for hidden repairs or things that haven't been updated. The other thing might be that when you have a lot of senior folks living in a building, there's always a lot of folks going in and out of care, and the environment can become really negative. So a better bet might be looking at a building that has no age restrictions. Remember, beginning of the video, I mentioned that I was going to share one insider tip that would help you avoid this mess, and here it is. One of the best ways to determine if this is the right strata unit in the right building is through reviewing the strata documents. When you're buying a condo or townhome here in Abbotsford, one of the most important subjects that you want to include on your contract of purchase and sale is subject to reviewing the strata documents for the last 2 years. And here's the reason why. You'll have an opportunity to review the monthly strata minutes, the AGM minutes, the depreciation report, bylaws, the rules, and the list goes on. And after you're done reviewing these documents, you'll have a clear idea about whether this building is right for you, or you'll have a very clear idea on the upcoming special levies, or if the building is being managed in a proactive or reactive way. One thing I want to be very clear on is what we hear about a lot of folks in our industry that are buying, or realtors, or some realtors do not help you review these documents. To make it worse, they'll include a statement in the contract saying that the buyer has been advised to review these documents with a professional of their choice, so that they're putting the onus back on you. So if you are someone that is buying a condo, you want to work with the right realtor, right team that can help review these documents with you, and more importantly, they can highlight things that you should be aware of and things that you should be avoiding. One of the things that we're always doing is, it doesn't matter if we're helping first-time home buyers, people upgrade, downsize, we always help review the strata documents with them, and we also give them an opportunity to review those documents on their own or with a professional of their choice. And here's the reason why, folks. We built the database of strata buildings that we're recommending clients buy in and those certain ones to avoid. After our clients are done reviewing the strata documents, they have a really good snapshot of how the building's managed and any upcoming special levies that they might need to consider or put money aside. I understand some of the things that we covered in today's video might be deal breakers for you, but it's very important that when you're buying a condo that you consider these things, so you end up buying a money pit that keeps draining your wallet. Like we discussed, all of these things are avoidable by when you work with the right realtor and team, and by reviewing the strata documents. Drop a comment and let me know your thoughts on other things that you might consider avoiding, or strata buildings that you might want to avoid. If you're someone that's looking to buy a townhome here in Abbotsford, you need to watch my next video because I walk you through a list of things that you need to be aware of. I'm Gary Dhindsa, and I'll see you on the other side.